everybody, how you doing? I thought today I'd talk a bit about improv for, people who are starting out, trying to learn how to solo. I've had a few students ask me about improv. So I've got this Backtrack Blues Shuffle Backtrack in E minor by Sebastian Zunino, Sebastian Zunino. Check it out. It's called the Blues Shuffle Backtrack in E minor. All capitals for each letter. I'm sure if you just type that in, you'll find it. And then any E minor backtrack you could use this scale for. So anybody that you find online, just type in E minor backtrack on YouTube and you can kind of start to learn how to improv. I like using this pattern, the blues scale here. It starts here on, I'm going to try to come up a bit closer so you guys could maybe see the frets. And I'll call them out. So basically we're going to start here in fret 12, and we're going to use finger 1 for fret 12, 2's for 13, 3's for 14, and 4's for 15. Very important to use the right fingers. And as we go down this pattern, I'll call out the frets. So we're going to start on the top string, which is string 6, fret 12, going to 15, down to string 5, fret 12, 13, and 14. Using fingers 1, 2, and 3. Next string down is string 4, which is our D string. We always count from the bottom up, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6, 5, 4. We got 1, and 3 here. 12 and 14 on string 4. 12 and 14 on string 3 with our pinky on 15 after those two for a blues note. Then we get 12 and 15. And 12 and 15 again. So a good thing to do would be get really fluent with alternating your pick. A lot of things I see when I'm teaching private lessons one-on-one here are things like people really squeezing their pick tight, even when they're strumming, or using their arms. That's how you tend to get sore shoulders and necks and things like that, because you're putting all this tension here in your arm. So a nice, really relaxed feel, and I always let my students know you can always rest the heel of your palm here on the corner of your bridge, but you don't have to push it in harder. And you're just kind of sitting there with the weight of your hand, and you're using your wrist more like this. And notice how my elbow and arm come down more like this. I see some people coming in and they're playing like this. Well, that's no good. Now you're fighting with your hand. This is a better approach. And then going down the scale so we can get this good. So you might want to count in quarter notes and always alternate your pick. And we come back up to the top. Now that just sounds like a scale. But some cool things we could do with this track, if you can, I use finger 3 when I'm bending up. You could use your pinky. I find 3 works well. For my bends on string 2, and I got finger 1 helping me on fret 12, finger 2's helping me on 14, and then I got finger 3 on 15, so that I can bend this string up, which is really steel. That's a cool riff. Another cool lick to try using this pattern would be, we bar these 2 bottom strings and we take fingers 2 and 3 here on string 3, fret 13 and 14, and my finger 1's barring strings 1 and 2 on fret 12. I'm using finger 2 on 13 to help finger 3 bend the note up higher. The hard thing is coming off of this string and not getting any noise. When I first started, I didn't worry so much about that, but the more you play, the more you start to hear all this noise and stuff, and you try to eliminate it. So a good trick for this week, a good guitar trick, is getting this one down. We bend string 3 up, and then we pick 2 and 1, and we get this. Now there is a method to it where we down with our pick, up with our pick, down with our pick. Then we come back to string 3 on an up, then a down, and an up on string 1. And the third time back, or we could call it groups of 2. every time we cycle this twice, the next time of 2, we come back to a down pick, because we only have 3 strings, so it's odd numbers, right? So we get a down, up, down, and then we get an up, down, up, then a down, up, down, up. And you try to get that going at a good speed. It was hard for me when I first learned it. If you want to learn it properly, you'd probably want to count in triplets and go something like 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. And do it slow. 1 triplet, 2 triplet. It's a cool lick, because if I think if I'm in E, I could do E, A, and B, and this is what I would get. So it kind of sounds like something that worked together. Using this track, we can do things like lots of turnaround. So what about maybe counting in quarter or eighth notes? Let's do eighth notes. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and there's that trick. And there's the bend in the beginning. What about bending up the E string? And our eights, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... You can use all the notes as long as you don't hang out on the ones that we shouldn't be in the key too long, something like... That was kind of cool. I used the chromatics. That's basically just, you know, doing a bend. There is no real F in this key, but it works as long as I don't stay on it long and I get to a note that actually works within the key. All these things are very cool to know, and all these tricks that we use with our pick and arpeggiating is very cool. You take an E minor that looks like this here, and you try to be able to get this. I could get better at them still. I practice them every day, but if I'm playing a track and maybe I want to try it, or something like... Another good one to try is just picking the arpeggio, like... So I got 12 and 15 with fingers 1 and 4, and then I'm taking 3 and barring these two on fret 14, strings 5 and 4. Then string 3 on 12, but I'm barring all 3 of these with finger 1, and then I'm picking each one of these, and then ending with my pinky. And eventually you try to get it so it's like... And then there's many ways of counting that. So I just want to do a little bit of a lesson on some improv in E minor. You got your scale you can work with. And we'll talk more about this too. Check out my YouTube channel. There's songs on there you can learn as well. And then my website I'm building is TJ's Easy Guitar. Check out Sebastian Zunino for this backtrack, Sebastien Zunino. And go through your scale. So this week's work would be practicing getting good at this scale going, well, musicians would call going up it because the note's getting higher, so we think about sound. And this way would be going down. For this purpose today, we'll talk about physically. I'm physically bringing my fingers down the fretboard or down the strings, and then I'm physically going back up. And a good exercise would be trying to tap your foot and counting quarters. Alright guys, I hope that helps you do some improv, and we'll see you back here hopefully next week, and we'll carry on with the E minor, the key of E minor. We're going to talk more about E minor.